For the last 2 weeks, I've had the luxury of working and gaming while using the Flexispot Standing Desk Pro E7. I've also had the opportunity to use their back support office chair BS10, but I'll cover that in a separate review. Having previously dabbled with a tabletop-mounted standing desk extension, which meant going all in on the standing part, my experience with this motorized desk has been much, much better. There has been plenty of interest in standing desks over the last decade, coupled with a resurgence of interest as the pandemic forced many people to work from home. Now, despite my positive opinions, and having enjoyed both the working and gaming experience, there are several individual factors you need to consider. For one, the health benefits are not as clear-cut as you might think. Multiple studies have shown only a minor increase in the number of calories burnt when moving from a sitting to a standing desk, so don't assume the change will suddenly see you shed weight. Now that said, there are definite benefits when it comes to improved posture and reduced neck or wrist strain, at least so long as the desk height and monitor positions are also optimal. However, anyone with pre-existing muscle weakness or pain, and those with circulation issues, should check with a specialist before taking the plunge on a standing desk. What I'd rather argue is that a standing desk offers tangential benefits that make it a healthy choice. For one, it encourages you to continuously move freely and easily switch between tasks during your workday, without the need to shift in and out of a chair, your body constrained to a limited range of motion and legroom. I found myself stretching, flexing my legs and upper body frequently, moving between work and background household chores with ease, and even mixing in some exercise sets. With work, a toddler, and minimal free time, I've got myself a mat and a pair of weights stuck under the desk for a quick exercise session whenever I need a breather. However, we don't all have the energy to stand all day, and nor should we. As such, a standing desk that allows you to quickly shift between a comfortable seating and standing position is a must. Looking at the features of the Standing Desk Pro Series E7 at a glance, you've got a dual motor setup ensuring a smooth motion, a lift speed of 38 mm a second, a height range between 58 and 123 centimeters, and a weight capacity of 125 kgs. The actual desktop surfaces themselves range from 120 to 210 centimeters in length and 60 to 80 centimeters in width. To control the desk, you get an LED touchscreen keypad with up-down controls, 4 memory presets, a child lock, and an anti-collision system. Now, always a potentially terrifying prospect with new office furniture, I'm happy to say the Standing Desk Pro Series E7 arrived in multiple neat packages, though you'll want to be careful when moving the heavy desktop and leg motor packages. Every item was thoroughly padded, primarily with recyclable materials, protecting both flat surfaces and edges during transport. The assembly instructions are brief but clear, with pleasantly few small parts to manage, all of which were neatly labelled and stored in individual pouches to only open when you needed them. Assembly was straightforward and logical. Once you've extracted all the individual components, you assemble the desk mounting bracket, attach the motorized legs, and then the floor pads. Each step requires several bolts and a provided hex key, but thankfully, each step also uses a different number of bolts, each of which is different length, making it almost impossible to use the wrong components. Once the lower part is assembled, you mount it and the keypad to the inverted desktop using several screws and guidance holes. Initial positioning of these requires some concentration, especially if you're using the matte black desktop, but once you've anchored it on either side, the alignment of the remaining guidance holes was perfect. At this point you get to what might be the most challenging part of the assembly, cable management. Connecting the motors, keypad, and power cable are dead easy, as each component has an annotated port with a unique adapter shape. However, once connected, you'll need to think about the location of your wall plug and which side you want your cables clustered on. At that point, you'll want to break out some cable ties and snugly align all the cables along the central spine before screwing on the baffle plate. If you want to further manage cables passing through the cable holes on either side of the desktop, you can easily attach an optional cable duct to the rear of the desk with just a few screws. All things considered, aside from the cable management and potentially flipping back over the full desk, assembly was far simpler than any number of equivalent-sized IKEA household items I've tackled in the past. Now, given that an elevated standing desk is going to be inherently less stable than your standard waist-high desk, the Standing Desk Pro Series E7 is heavy, sturdily built, and feels more than capable of handling the advertised 125 kg weight limit. The metal mounting bracket, motorized legs, and the feet keep the table stable right up to the maximum height, with only minor back and forth motion and negligible lateral movement. Better still, there's a 5-year warranty on the frame and a 3-year warranty on the motor, mechanisms, and any electronic parts. Now, typing furiously on a mechanical keyboard might introduce a slight wobble to your display, which will also of course be influenced by the type of stand it has, but it was never noticeable or distracting from work or play, unless I deliberately focused on it. Investing in a compressible foam floor mat would likely mitigate what little movement there is. The desktop itself is spacious and flat, with a slightly curved recess at the front. There are multiple material options, including bamboo and solid wood, but I found the compressed wood chip, with its matte black laminated finish variant, decent, but also prone to visible dust, and it will inevitably scratch over time. As such, I'd advise using gaming mats under your accessories to prolong the surface finish. Given the amount of space, I had no problem setting up my notebook on a riser, and a secondary 24-inch display, a full-size mechanical keyboard and mouse on a large gaming mat, and I still had space for a USB charging hub and several accessories stacked on one side. Assuming you're not using TV-sized, greater than 32-inch displays, you could comfortably fit a desktop PC tower and maybe two 24 to 27-inch monitors on the desktop. If your PC tower is sitting on a floor tray, there's even more room for larger displays. Just remember to consider total cable lengths and the amount of slack you'll need to accommodate the range of motion between your minimum and maximum heights. When it comes to operating the Standing Desk Pro Series E7, the keypad is simple and intuitive, while the mechanical motion is smooth and incredibly quiet at less than 50 decibels. You can manually adjust the height up and down in 1 centimeter increments, then store up to 4 optimal heights in memory, potentially allowing for 2 users to share the desk with ease, both with the standing and sitting position. For those with children, holding down the memory button for 5 seconds engages or disengages a child lock. The only weird thing is the incessant beeping when trying to disengage it, but at least it lets you know from afar if anyone is trying to use the keypad. The last thing to take note of is the powered USB port on the side of the keypad. Useful in a pinch, but the placement is a bit impractical. You'll want a USB hub with decent cable length so you can run it under the desktop, through the baffle assembly, and through the rear cable hole to make any practical use of it, at least if you want to avoid dangling cables. So, aside from the inherent cool factor of a motorized standing desk, the Standing Desk Pro Series E7 has proven an unexpected game changer for balancing work life and play. Now, the concept is stupidly simple, and I'd accept the argument you could do without one, but ease of use, comfort, and time management are increasingly essential in busy lives. Working on an erratic schedule between parenting demands, dealing with a roaming child and dog, finding a gap to relax and game, all these are activities I found considerably easier since installing the desk. The standing position is great for tackling short tasks, or juggling between work and chores, and I even found it comfortable for shorter 30 to 60 minute gaming sessions when using the mouse and keyboard. If I wanted to focus on typing for extended periods, or I wanted to relax and game with a gamepad, I simply set it to the optimal seated position. Overall, if you're someone looking for an adaptable workspace, a desktop you can raise to keep out of the way of children and pets, or lower when you just need to relax or concentrate on hammering out some work in a chair, the Standing Desk Pro Series E7 might be the upgrade you need. As with any motorized standing desk, the price of entry can be intimidating, but for many of us, desk work takes up a massive chunk of each day. With easy assembly, solid build quality, and plenty of space, and smooth operation, I found the Standing Desk Pro Series E7 justifies its pricing, which is already lower than many of its competitors, in light of the long-term benefits on offer.